Chicago Union Station is owned by Amtrak, and recently Amtrak selected a master developer for a nearly $1 billion redevelopment project at Union Station. It'll bring over 3 million square feet of office, residential, retail, and hotel space to the historic facility. It will certainly bring a markedly improved experience for commuters and travelers, be great for economic development in that area. So it's good to see that. I worked on getting some language in the FAST Act that helped to make that possible. Now, in 2013, Amtrak's board of directors called for a more coordinated approach to unlock the commercial value of Amtrak's assets and generate additional revenue that could be reinvested back into the infrastructure, with a particular focus on major stations such as Chicago Union Station. This was called the Terminal Development Initiative. So I wanted to ask Mr. Moorman, can you describe Amtrak's priorities for these investments, and will they be linked to the regions where the revenue is generated? Obviously, it's a big question that I have. The money that Amtrak receives in this redevelopment, will that be used in the region, or could that be moved somewhere else?
As we look at these projects, Chicago being a great example in our first project, but with more to come on the Northeast Corridor, it's our hope and expectation that that will generate significant funds for Amtrak to use in the operation of its business. It is certainly our intention to make sure that funds, for example, from Chicago are used to the maximum extent possible to do the work that's required, and a lot of it is required in Chicago Union Station and in our Chicago facilities. We'll have to make sure that we work on the timing, because in some cases the funds that come from a particular development may not match the timing of the investments that we need to make. But we certainly plan on using those funds to the extent possible to do the work in the area where they're being generated.
Thank you. And I want to go back to the to Buy America. I was happy to hear what Mr. Richards said about Buy America and what California High-Speed Rail will do on Buy America. In February, I introduced the Buy American Improvement Act, which seeks to close loopholes, increase transparency, and promote the use of American-made goods and materials. The FRA's official policy is that high-speed intercity passenger rail equipment can and should be manufactured in the United States. I want to ask Mr. Nissenbaum what your office is doing right now in reaching this goal. Just want to make sure that you are doing that, and the waiver process. I have some concerns about the waiver process, and I want to make sure that's not being used to sort of undermine our goal of a domestic rail manufacturing industry.
Thank you, Congressman. Not only is it our policy, it is the law. So we are following it strictly for the entire HISPR program and all of our all programs that are funded under the statutory authority granted by this committee. There's a very rigorous waiver process that's not easy to go through that requires public notice, requires full vetting of whether there are domestic suppliers available if someone is seeking a waiver. And so while there have been a few waivers granted over the course of this program, the vast majority of all the project work has been done through domestic manufacturing.
In the previous administration implemented a policy that imposed Buy America requirements on the RIF loans. Does this administration believe this policy should be continued?
I can't speak to that. What I can say is that all of the indications we have is the strong support for Buy America policy from our current administration.
I certainly would encourage that, and the president certainly talks a lot about Buy Americans. I want to make sure that we are not in any way going backwards. We should be moving forward on that, and I would appreciate your office's work on that. Thank you.
Happy to bring that back.